Hello, poor people. How are you today? Very quickly, I'm going to explain how to improve your communication with anybody. In the spirit of Christmas, because I'm a benevolent man and I'm in a good mood, I would make tonight's teaching relationship centric. So, for you, the average bourgeoisie who struggles to retain a convo with a lady, you are anxious, you fidget, fear not. I've come to save you. But if you observe most people's conversation, especially yours, it's from a question perspective. How are you? Fine. Where are you from? X. What are you doing today? X. Have you had anything to eat? X. There's no convo. It devolves from a conversation to a pop quiz. That's why you do not feel the energy. It doesn't carry any semblance of charisma because you're stuck in what I classify as the rigid approach. Another component that falls under the rigid category is complimenting. I like your shirt. Thank you. I like your dress. Thank you. I like your shoes. Thank you. It's fun at first, but it's impossible to ride on the waves of compliments. It's impossible to surf and retain a conversation solely on compliments. It's too rigid. But one of the ways to improve your conversation, as you've seen, is not the question perspective, it's not compliments alone, is the right mindset as touching the conversation. It's most likely when you speak to someone, and as I said in previous teaching, the mindset would always compel behaviors that produces outcome. So if your purpose is to feel some sense of validation or prove a point or get this person to like you, it's most likely you would act in ways that are repelling. Human beings do not want servile friends. You do not want someone who's seeking validation. You want someone who's honest, aligns to your values. You want someone more like you. Do you understand? Especially with females. Every single man in their DM is servile, they're obsequious, they bow. Do you understand? They're scared to upset this woman. And here comes you, authentic, set boundaries. In fact, the right mindset is more important than whatever it is you say. If I approach the questionnaire dimension from a right mindset, it becomes profitable. Watch this. Hello, hi, how are you today? Where are you from? Oh, X. Did you grow up there? The last time I went there, I got robbed. Yeah, you should go there and become queen. You'd be like, you people should not steal. Yes, completely. So what are you doing tonight? Oh, really? Since when? Oh, let's reschedule. 8 p.m. is fine. I'll have you home before 9. I'll see you some other time. That was a conversation approached with the right mindset. Now, that could have gone south. Hello, hi, I'm not interested. Once the person makes that statement, the best thing you can do for yourself is to leave, accept the end. The problem I have with most individuals is their confidence is staked on externality. So, no, this has nothing to do with your looks, but more of your mentality. You truly believe you can have everybody, which is a wrong mindset to begin with. There are ladies who are genuinely uninterested. Genuinely uninterested. The worst thing you can do is to try and make them interested. As I said before, you begin to act in ways that encourage servitude. You no longer have boundaries. There's nothing respectable about you. Once you're trying to make someone like you, you lose all sense of boundaries. And once that happens, it creates the opposite of the desired effect. So, yes, people say women like bad boys, but in reality, women like people with boundaries, people who can stick for themselves. Unfortunately, only assholes, only bad boys have all those traits because they are confident. They do not care about external opinions. They believe in themselves so much that they're able to enforce those traits. So if you fall in that rare 1% who's a genuinely nice person, has boundaries, sustain the trait as the bad man, guess what? Exactly. So the problem is not necessarily your looks or your height, but the mindset in which you approach all conversations from. Pay attention to the monologue, and it will teach you a lot. Because most people, in fact, let me play what the average script looks like. If you approach conversations from the mindset of trying to impress, it's most likely you sound like this. Hello, how are you today? Oh, nothing. Where are you from? Oh, what's your best color? There is no charisma. There is nothing attributed to that display. So the best thing you can do is sustain the right mindset, going to actually converse as opposed to rate yourself. I know guys who in the middle of a conversation, they're more interested of their performance as opposed to comprehend. There are individuals, in fact, that previous monologue, you're listening to respond, not to comprehend. You're not invested in the conversation. You're outward looking. How does my watch look? Am I standing in the right position? Am I fidgeting? Your mind has so many options, it's concentrated in what you're doing. And the problem with that kind of philosophy is you're diverting brain cells. The creative energy that would have enhanced the conversation is now focused on trivial things. But once you're focused, once you're interested in whatever it is you're saying, that's when the conversation is interesting. Let me make it clear. It's difficult to script a conversation, especially when it's informal. It's easier to define the parameters of a formal conversation. Okay, I'm going into the negotiation room with XYZ. The focal points is to get boats across X wave. Okay, what is the straits? What's the problem? Why doesn't he want to sign? Ah, it's most likely a request for this. So it's easier to define the constraint of the conversation because both of you have a vested interest. You know what the other person wants or what you can offer him to get you what you want. It's easier to determine the terms of those kind of conversation. But once you extrapolate to casual discourse, there is really nothing to lose or gain. Do you understand? So, especially when it comes to a lady, she's less pliant. There's really nothing to gain except you have status or visible display of wealth. which is not a category you want to fall under. If you are the latter, it becomes difficult to identify whether you have charisma or it's your status or your wealth doing the job for you. As ridiculous as this sounds, wealthy people are very boring, especially with women. They just laugh and stay because they're on a yacht, or proximity gives them access to luxurious lifestyle. They want to update their status. So there's benefits in being pliant. But to you, the average bourgeoisie, if you're in that top 1% who is able to sustain this belief system, being charming, being charismatic, not placing your confidence on something external, a lady rejects you. Cool, you move on, find someone else, not walking around the mall till you get a yes, like a fucking 12-year-old. Is that your life? Please understand, there are people today whom, at the point of rejection, they do their best to get an acceptance. It's a very stupid life to live, especially if you are insisting on an individual who has previously rejected. You just open yourself to various shades of deception, and it's even worse if you have resources. Guess what? Exactly. So, the best thing you can do is to believe in yourself, be confident, have the right mindset as touching conversation. You might want to observe the various intricacies, which is the kind of clothes you wear, how you're dressed, your mannerism. But I truly believe with this knowledge, I would fit in a luxurious hotel, putting on sneakers and jeans, than with your mindset on a suit. All of these components, I'm not trying to downplay the aspects of mannerism or appearance. All of these are wonderful in and of itself. But the right mindset is able to clothe you with the befitting apparel. A luxurious man or confident man is confident, regardless of what he's putting on. In fact, it becomes more evident when he's not dressed, like his mindset. Because once he speaks, the way he moves, the way he controls the room, the way he's open, he's not insecure. You make a joke about him, he laughs to it, or highlights his failures or previous weaknesses, the way he carries himself, as though every single thing belongs to him. I shared a story long time ago. While I was in campus, I wanted to do something with a friend of mine. While walking, it began to rain. Quickly, we took shade in one of those campuses, and 5 minutes into this journey or layover, it called my attention to a very pretty law student. You could tell by the way she was dressed, hanging at the corner. Hi, hello, how are you doing? I'm not interested. I'm not interested. How are you doing? I'm not interested. How are you doing? I'm not interested. Why are you not interested? I'm not interested. I'm not interested. Leave me. Then he walks back and continues the conversation as if nothing happened. You know what's phenomenal about that situation is it's not like other interactions where you get rejected, you can leave the premise. No, it's raining. You have to stay there. You have to deal with the fact that 20, 30 plus people watched you get rejected and you don't feel a thing. I can say this confidently because humans operate on energy. If you walk into a room where you were previously gossiped, you will know the atmosphere is incongruent with the mask they pretend to be nice on. And after 5 minutes, you make an excuse and bounce. So you continue the conversation as though he didn't feel a thing, as though it was normal. Exactly. Now, a huge percentile of you might not be able to go to that extreme, but it's possible. Baby steps, baby steps, the right mindset to conversation. You should get to a point where nothing can diminish your self worth. An individual compliments your intelligence. Thank you. I already knew that about myself. Inwardly, someone downplays your intelligence. That's not what I believe about myself. Inwardly, trying to voice out and correct people just betrays insecurity. You cannot bend everybody to your philosophy aside yourself. And as always, my friends, it's a pleasure speaking to you. I'll see you in the next one.